Today on Timeless Adventures, we're headed to Nazaré, Portugal. On the wall in our workout room, we have a picture of the big waves of Nazaré. I look at this picture every time I go into the room. Visiting Nazaré was on my bucket list. So, we made it a reality when we were in northern Spain this past March. On our way back to Madrid, we drove through Portugal so that we could visit Nazaré. 4 hours into the drive, we stopped in Porto for lunch. We had lunch along the river and then went on a river cruise. Porto was such a beautiful city. We had an amazing time for the short time we were there. We wish we would have had more time to spend in Porto, but we wanted to get to Nazaré before sunset. As we continued south, we started off avoiding the toll roads. This was a big mistake. This turned a 2-hour drive into a 3.5-hour drive. We drove on roads such as this one, a 2-lane road that felt like a 1-lane road with weird speed bumps. So, as soon as we could, we got on a toll road. It was so much better. If time is limited, take the toll roads. We arrived in Nazaré in the late afternoon, a little later than what we wanted, but plenty of time before sunset. Nazaré is a charming coastal town nestled in central Portugal with approximately 10,000 residents. We headed to the hotel to check in. We stayed in a hotel right across the street from the beach called the Mara Brava Hotel. Great location, great price, very clean, with free garage parking. Up here on the right, in the front of the hotel, is reserved parking that you can use when you check in. We parked in front and then went inside to check in. We went into our room and dropped everything off. The room had everything we needed, plus a great view. From our balcony, we could see the historic funicular that takes you to the top of the Sitio area of Nazaré. This part of town sits atop a 1,043-foot high cliff. It offers breathtaking views of the coastline. At the end, you'll see the location of the famous lighthouse. When we were there, the funicular was not operating, so we drove to the top of the cliff. During high season, it runs every day from 7:15 to midnight. March is considered low season, so operations are sporadic. We put into Google Maps the sanctuary of Our Lady of Nazaré Church. Most of the roads are one way up here. The first time we drove to the church, it was a bit confusing, so we just followed our map. This area of town is historically and culturally significant as a sacred pilgrimage site and a protective high ground refuge from pirates. The positioning of the town was essential to protect the residents against raids from Vikings and later French, English, and Dutch pirates until the 19th century. Right before the church, we veered right onto a cobblestone street. This one-way street will lead us to the free parking lot. Up ahead is the sanctuary of Our Lady of Nazaré Church. It was built in 1377 by King Fernando I to hold the sacred statue of the Virgin Mary breastfeeding the infant Jesus. The statue is believed to be carved by Saint Joseph and brought from the Holy Land. The church is considered a pilgrimage site because it houses this small wooden statue called the Black Madonna. This part of Nazaré is also known because of the 1182 miracle in Nazaré. It is believed that the Virgin Mary saved a nobleman from falling off a cliff when he was hunting for deer in heavy fog. There are no signs posted, so keep following the road to the parking lot. We timed it perfectly to see sunset. We didn't walk down to the lighthouse because it closed at 6 p.m. We're coming back in the morning around 10 a.m. when it opens. We found a nice place to sit and watch the sunset over the Atlantic. Even though the waves were not big, the views were breathtaking. It started getting dark, so we got back into the car and headed back down to our hotel. Because March was considered the off-season, everything up here seemed to close very early. We parked our car and found a good seafood restaurant to get some good, authentic Portuguese food. Then, after dinner, we walked back to the hotel to get a good night's sleep. The next morning, we had a great breakfast at the hotel. After breakfast, we took a nice walk along the beach. These colorful boats on display at South Beach represent the town's ancient fishing history. They show visitors traditional fishing boats. A really cool area is the Dried Fish Museum. It is a living museum to preserve the ancient, local tradition of sun-drying fish. This dedicated area is where fish are washed, salted, and dried in the sun for 2 to 3 days. This ancient tradition was critical for preserving fish in the winter or during times of scarcity. The water temperature on the coast is around 64 degrees Fahrenheit in the summer. During the summer months, South Beach is calm, sunny, and popular for sunbathing. Straight ahead and at the end of the cliff is where the lighthouse is located and where the big waves break onto the shores of North Beach. Nazaré beautifully balances a traditional fishing village with the excitement of a world-renowned big wave surfing destination. It is one of the most picturesque traditional fishing villages in Portugal. We are headed back to the top so that we could explore the lighthouse and its surrounding area. We parked in the same parking lot we found the night before and began the 0.6-mile walk down the paved road to the lighthouse. On the way down, we passed a 21-foot-tall statue of a human figure with the head of a deer holding a surfboard. This statue represents the history of the area, from surfing today to the story about the 1182 miracle of Nazaré. Down below is North Beach, where the world-famous giant waves break. You could either walk down the steep dirt path from the lighthouse to the sand, or park in the North Beach parking lot that you can see in the distance. The Atlantic storms bring legendary giant waves. The waves can arrive anytime between October and March, although December through early February is the most reliable time. The fort ahead dates back to 1577. It was not until the beginning of the 20th century that the government installed a lantern and a house for the keeper to support the fishing activities and assist navigation along the Portuguese coast. The lighthouse opens at 10 a.m. every day, and it costs €2 to get in. On the first level looking south, there are colorful ceramic seagulls on the wall of the fort. They symbolize the vibrant coastal life, history, and legend of the town. On the first level, you could also wander through the photograph and video exhibit and walk through the surfboard exhibit. It is a memorial and tribute to the legends who have conquered the giant waves. There are over 35 boards donated by the riders. Each signed board represents a specific or dangerous ride. We really enjoyed reading about the surfers and looking at their boards. Next, we walked up the stairs to the top level. Up on the top level, you have incredible panoramic views of the coastline and the surf. Yes, we know what you're thinking. Where are the waves? We were sad that the day we were there, the waves were only 10 to 15 feet, but we absolutely loved the spectacular views. Some big waves were forecasted in the next day or so. Unfortunately, we had to get to Madrid and we couldn't stay any longer. Down below and just past the rocks is the Nazaré Canyon, the largest submarine canyon in Europe. It stretches 140 miles long and is roughly 3 miles deep. This deepwater canyon acts as a funnel, concentrating the energy. When the water from the deepwater trench abruptly meets the water coming in on the continental shelf, it amplifies the incoming wave. This disparity makes the wave bend and concentrate all its energy into one point, multiplying its height and creating waves that exceed 80 to 100 feet. Here is a picture of what it would look like. Unfortunately, the day we were there, the Atlantic Ocean was very peaceful. Now it's time to head down, walk up the hill, and soak in the breathtaking views of the stunning coastline one last time. Nazaré offers a unique blend of tradition and adventure that makes this a truly special place. Now off to our next adventure.